Hey, Justin. Thanks for joining me. How are you doing?
Hi, Camille. I'm doing very well. Good day. How about you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you here. I've been like looking forward to this interview for a while, just because we met actually on Clubhouse in one of the rooms with I think it was Delano A. Johnson and Monique in the House of Creativity, and that was just a place where people connect and things happen. And here you are. So thank you so much. I'm just humbled to have you here. So thank you.
Thank you, Camille. I'm so happy to be here as well. It was a pleasure to meet you as well and to connect with you over the course of months and everything. You're a great spirit, and I'm happy and honored to be on your podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. So, those I don't know about you, you're in Jersey right now, right?
Yes, I am in New Jersey. Nice breeze here, going outside in the backyard, and yeah, I'm in Jersey.
Okay, so are you originally from New Jersey? Because I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds like you have like a little Southern vibe to you. So, what's up with that?
Yeah, so I am originally from Newark, New Jersey. I was born there. However, I was raised in North Carolina, a very small town, country farm. You had four wheelers, dirt bikes, the pond, and the water. So I was raised in that type of environment. So I have like a little bit of Southern gentleman chill side to me, but I get my hustle and bustle from the city. Did attend high school in New Jersey though, so I have like a little bit back and forth in terms of culturally from the South and the North.
Okay, great. Now I'm in Charlotte, so can you tell me like in proximity where that is from here?
Sure. So Charlotte is about 2 hours, I believe, from near
Mhm.
Wilmington, North Carolina. That's not too far from Charlotte. So
No.
about 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, about 2.5 hours. So it's not too far.
Okay.
Has-
And cool. So I'm originally from Nashville, but I was in the Navy and deployed and all of that. And so I got out my last station. I was in California actually, and I left Cali and came here for graduate school, which I'm done with all my main coursework. We had graduation May 8th, but I'm currently working on my capstone. So now I'm
Congratulations.
graduated. I'm doing all this research, to finish up the program. So
Congratulations. Wish you my true blessings. So I know you
thank,
do very well.
thank you. Y'all pray for me because my brain is like, ooh, child.
You you got it.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
So, what are your interests? 'Cause it seems like I'm listening to your tone. It sounds like you have a singer's voice. So, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so I actually started singing at 2 years old. Very grew up in a church, and I'm a PK kid as well. So started singing in church, and I was in the jazz band in high school.
Hmm.
Did a little bit of piano, but I switched to saxophone, alto saxophone, because my father played. I love Sonny Rollins, and I thought it was cooler to be a saxophonist than a pianist. So I
Okay.
started playing that. So I had the pleasure and the honor to actually perform on Carnegie Hall at 14 years old.
Oh wow.
Where I played the saxophonist with my jazz band. That was an honor. Also had an honor and pleasure to be a contestant on the Showtime in the Apollo, where I sung. So yeah, I do have a little bit of singer's voice, a little bit.
Did you get booed?
No, I didn't get booed. I did very well. I think I came in like fourth place or so.
Okay. So you did rub the stone and everything,
Yeah,
the food and all
dancers
that.
that there was some dancers that I rubbed the stone. There was some dancers that were there. They actually won like two dancing crew. They won the top prizes. But it was a really great experience. I didn't get booed, so
Okay.
really
I
lovely
just
enjoy.
love growing up watching that, watching Kiki. She would, do her thing.
Yeah, Kiki definitely wasn't there. I think it was Wade Brady, maybe. I forgot who it was. The host.
Really?
Yeah, but it was and they didn't have like the other person.
The
Like the
Sandman.
Yeah, they had the Sandman. The people did get booed that night. They just didn't have, how Kiki used to go over the heads and
Yes.
he didn't
Yes.
do that. No, it was a lot. It was a different format.
See, the kids are like, what are y'all talking about? They don't
Yeah,
know, like, Showtime the Apollo growing up was like the thing, okay?
yeah, that was the thing.
Love watch because I love fashion and and Kiki and her gowns. I was just like, oh my gosh. And I think she was probably, growing up we all saw like Vanna White, but to see someone like her, it was like, wow, like we always see Vanna, but to see Kiki in that capacity, she was one of the first glamorous people I remember as a child on television.
Yeah,
Just the way she showed up. Maybe her like Diane Carroll as far as that fabulousness.
yeah,
Just she to me just growing up as a kid. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty.
yeah. She was a great representation. Very beautiful, dark skin. And you didn't really see a lot of like dark skinned women in the media. So Kiki
Mhm.
was really a trendsetter for
Yeah,
that moment in
she
time.
was.
Yeah.
So who's been like your inspiration? Like you read, you play chess, you travel the world. So what are the things that inspire you, Justin?
Oh wow, that is a great question. I will say I'll go back to music. Music is one of the things that always has played an influential part of my life. I love gospel music. It has also been like a source of inspiration and spirituality that has always inspired me. My family, my aunt, she recently passed away. She partially raised me um, in New Jersey when I went to high school. So she was a preacher as well, and so she would always give me like sources of motivation and quotes and word of God. And so she was such a great inspiration and source of strength for me. I would talk to her days and days and days on that. I told her everything. So she was like essentially my best friend, and she died around 3 years ago,
Oh,
near the anniversary of our family business. And that was such a bad day for the Bishop's Vault because she died on the same day, like an anniversary day. So
oh, my condolences to you and your family.
thank you.
We have people like that that really impart into us or pour into us. Without the proper foundation or circle, it can be very devastating. You know,
Yes.
so when you were going through that, what did you do to get through that moment or that period of time in your life?
Wow. Well, she was very strong. Like she was like nothing stopped her show. Like she even preached my grandfather's funeral because she was like one of the matriarch on such a strong figure in our family. And so I just that always just resonated with me and like just you gotta do it. So I actually sang at her funeral,
Oh,
falling in love with Jesus. And I got through the song. And so it was just, I just fell back into like God and my spirituality and my music and sang her song. That was our favorite song. We would sing that song together on the phone and stuff. And so just remembering those moments, those special moments that we had growing up together and just those magical and the magical memories and moments that we had together. That's what really kept me going during those tumultuous times.
wow. You wear so many hats, Justin. Entrepreneur, business consultant, um, musician. But outside of all of that, and your professional identity, who would you say you are as a person and as a man?
Sure. I'm a very giving person. I was raised to it's better to give than receive. So those particular values was instilled to me at a young age.
Hmm.
So I love to like volunteer, help people, help the homeless and shelters and all that kind of stuff. Um, in, in addition to like being given, I'm very resilient. Nothing that doesn't really lock me down. I've been like through a lot and like, the experiences and this the like God's grace has really taken me through a lot of hardships and everything. And so I'm very resilient. People say I'm resilient, very giving, very those yeah. I would say I'm giving and very resilient. Two things that stick out to mind right now.
Wow.
Love my
So
family, very family oriented. So have a big family, seven siblings, and grew up in a very large family. We have like 30 or 30 something nephews and nieces and stuff
oh,
like
wow.
that. So I'm always helping them, and I don't know. Yeah,
Good, good. So we have people that are coming in and joining us, and I just want to take the time just to say thank you for those that are tuning in. This is Camille Essex, host of the Speaker Podcast. This is the podcast where innovators and creators connect. And tonight we have a phenomenal person here, first timer to the show. Is Justin Goldsberry. I want to thank Sharnika and Michael. Thank you for joining us here. We have comments coming in and people coming in. So be sure to click like and share, hit the notification button, and follow me on Instagram at Camille.Essex. Catch all of my merchandise at www.camilleessex.com. And I'm on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Twitch, YouTube, you name it, I'm there. So Justin, thank you so much for joining us as we dive into this conversation. Hey, Kia, thank you for joining us there from Nashville, Tennessee. So good to have you here. So Justin, as we go right in, we're starting to kind of lead into your family. And you're talking about how much you're a family person. So can you kind of give us a little background about your family and your legacy?
sure, great. So in the 1800s, here a very interesting story. In the 1800s, my family they bought the only Native American and Black-owned beach in North Carolina. It's called Seabreeze Freeman Beach. for $1 an acre. And by the 1920s, they actually had it had 10 restaurants. My Hazel owned a couple of those.
Mhm.
It had a bingo parlor. It had a church, a school, and it had a Ferris wheel. And it served as a refuge for people of color during that time. And the music and the food was so delicious. And um, not only was it delicious, it was called Bop City. The music was so great, and so my family, based on that model, in my family history, we opened a restaurant and catering business called the Bishop's Vault, located in New Jersey, and so it mirrors the aesthetics and the flavor and the era during that time. Yeah.
So what would that be? Is it like mid-century or Queen Anne? What is the style?
It's Southern, with a little twist. Very luxury, high end Southern cuisine, down home cooking, but it also has a little bit of twisting. And we always are modernizing our recipes. And as the seasonality, as the season changes and taste palettes change, we're always inventing and perfecting old traditional family recipes.
Awesome. So being in these environments, where we're not usually probably the norm, air quotes, what do you feel like, or how should I say the importance of legacy, or as far as being the first and breaking barriers? Because a lot of times, there's maybe some anxiety coming along with that, and it's like, well, somebody has to be first. So, what did that responsibility feel like to you and your family, and how important is, first of all, the first part of that is just the importance of creating legacy.
Sure. You know, I can tell you our experience. We had a very diverse crowd in New Jersey. A lot of white people, Asians, Indians, Chinese. They all partook in the cuisine. And what they really loved about it the most was that the service. They loved the brand. They loved the cuisine. And I feel like when you have a great product and you really believe in what you're presenting, it transcends race. Like everybody will support you. People love the good food. People were traveling from everywhere, from all over New Jersey, from the surrounding areas, as far as Virginia, Maryland. They had heard about us. I guess like the marketing went into that, but also the food and the word of mouth and the all that kind of played into, I guess, the type of brand that we were hoping to put out there.
Mhm.
There were some challenges and hurdles. I will say that when we first started, we were concerned about putting our faces out there, coming from the South, and just knowing about all the systemic racism and things that Black people face here in America. So we were cognizant about that, but people just love the food. They love the personality. We treat them like they was like they were guests in our home, and so we were able to be successful just by um, keeping like a Southern type of core values along with a great product.
That's really good. Something you said, it kind of hinted to quality will transcend any demographic, and I think that's really true because at the end of the day, um, it is about the quality of the service and what you bring to the table. So the fact that you mentioned that, I think that's really important, which kind of goes into the next question as far as when you are looking to be the first or break those barriers. What would be some things, you touched on quality, other things that aspiring entrepreneurs, whether if it's in cuisine or corporate America, that someone would need to know?
Sure, I would say that one of the biggest key things to like our success, even in corporate America, in an entrepreneurial sense, is really building relationships.
Mm.
That's very, very important. I've built relationships for elected officials to musicians, to preachers and ministers and clergy, and so those relationships have been very pivotal in like my career success. I'm an entrepreneur. I do a lot in politics and government as well, and so building those strong relationships are very key in terms of business success because those relationships can open up many doors, not only for your business but your personal life, and for I guess your career trajectory. So I really would say building a lot of relationships, strong relationships, is one key factor that I really push. And the old saying goes, it's not all about what you know; it's like who you know. So
Yeah, that's really good. So, for those that may be introverted or shy or have some type of anxiety as far as just speaking with people or speaking, entering those places, what were some of the things that you saw in the beginning within yourself that, like, man, oh, I need to work on that? Or how can someone pivot and use that to their advantage when looking to connect or network in different spaces?
Sure. I would say preparation is key. I guess as I got older, I became more of like I guess I am extroverted, so that really wasn't a challenge for me. But I will say that preparation. I used to be fearful of public speaking,
Really?
but I would say that preparation was one of those key things. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So I've always like would go in the mirror, write, jot things down, and practice in the mirror in terms of like making speeches. So when I went to these different networking events and had to speak, I would prepare, and that really helped ease the anxiety or whatever.
Mhm.
Another thing that I did was I joined this organization called Toastmasters. It's really where you're practicing on speeches. I really highly recommend this program. It's all over the country. And it's a little minor due that you pay every 6 or so months, but that really helped me to develop my public speaking skills and to know how to navigate these spaces. But I would say once I launched my own endeavor, like with my family, by that time I was like already preparing myself for what God had planned in terms of my entrepreneur endeavors.
That's really good. As you begin to be an employer on other levels, we've seen so many things in the media as far as toxic work environments. So, for you, being a Black man and in leadership, what are some things you believe to give other Black men and people that look like you, as far as within the place of business and enterprise, to create, even behind the scenes, a place that's safe from a communication standpoint, emotional, mental standpoint? Because now we hear, the buzzword mental health. So, in terms of in business and entrepreneurship, what are some things that you instill within your community to have a healthy mental environment?
Sure, great. Some of the things that I guess I implemented, I guess within the Bishop's Vault was every morning we would have like a huddle, and we would meet as a team and share our thoughts and some of the action plans. And those huddles, and at the end of the day, we would have huddles as well. And those huddles instrumental in like not only like establishing relationships and like starting our day off, it also established like goals and goal setting, but it also allowed us to, like just to really connect. And so I really believe, like I said, going back to relationships, when you build like authentic and relationships built on trust, and you're encouraging, you're motivating. We would share motivational quotes in the morning. That really helped us to build a great sense of camaraderie amongst our staff, and then even go like externally and external, I guess, stakeholders. I would always like, I don't know, go to different events and pop-ups within my community and show the community that I was really looking forward to giving back. Even partner with the local church and an organization called Jazz for PCA. They We had a fundraiser, and we were able to donate I think over $5,000 for prostate cancer awareness.
Okay,
And so I just really believe in like the power of relationships and build a community through relationships.
that's really good. So, just, we were talking offline about some things, and even since the show has started, um, you've had some adversities in your personal life, and we know business doesn't stop. So, for those watching and tuning in, um, how did you go through that, as far as having just the wherewithal to keep going when some days you're like, oh, these emails, or maybe you've been putting your all into it, and it's just like you're not seeing the results that you want, or maybe at the timing that you want. So just to have the endurance and the tenacity keep going, what would you say to that?
I would say the pandemic was really, really tough on us as well. We were actually transitioning, we were expanding to another location, and because we got a pretty big right there in New Jersey. So we were expanding, and we were supposed to be going through like I guess renovations and expanding and all that kind of stuff. And it seemed like things were not working out, like it wouldn't work out. And we was like, if this didn't happen, then something else happened, then something personal happened. So everything just kept on getting delayed. And so we really didn't know like what was going on, but we really prayed and asked God that we want to make the right decision and that we making sure that our steps are ordered by God. And the next thing you know is the pandemic hit. So we were already like transitioning and had already closed down at our previous location. We transitioned to something a little bit bigger. So everything worked out in like in our particular favor. So I want to say pray, always keep, I really believe in like prayer and keeping God first, because God sees things that you don't know. So yeah, so we're looking to even to come back within the next year or so with that particular endeavor. But like I said, um, I'm also involved in a lot of other things and avenues. So it's like I'm really excited. So I got some partners and stuff. So we're going to be really coming pushing this particular project forward again.
Good. That's really cool. So with everything with the pandemic, since we're having that part of the conversation is the businesses begin to open back up and people are coming back. Do you had the location, was it Seabreeze, North Carolina? So is that location still open or is it just the Jersey location?
It's just a Jersey location. So Seabreeze, what happened, unfortunately, if you look into my family history, those particular restaurants that were there, Hurricane Hazel in the 1950s or something, I forgot the specific date, it actually did a lot of tremendous damage to that particular beach. Back I think it's in the 50s. So yeah,
Yeah.
but we're located in New Jersey, and we are looking to go into like other southern states though.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to ask you a question here. Um, what do you say has been your biggest hurdle and how did you get through it?
Oh wow. Um, in terms of like entrepreneurship or
Business or personal?
um, that's a great question. You know, I had to think about that. I guess one of my biggest hurdles I would have to say is that because I'm in politics, I'm in government, I'm in business, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I do like all, and I'm a musician and singer, and God has like blessed me, but I guess to do and to be into different spaces.
Mhm.
Sometimes I can like spread myself a little bit too thin. And so I guess one of the biggest things I had to learn is how to say no to different engagements and different opportunities, because I just want to do everything. And I feel like if God has blessed you with multi talents and to be like a quote unquote Renaissance man or woman, you should strive and do the best you can to pursue your goals. So I really had to learn the power of saying no and not really taking so much on my plate. So that can be my biggest challenge in general, because I would spread myself a little bit too thin.
I understand that. I think sometimes when we go through periods of transition, we may have people or places that at one point we were thriving. I feel like God gives us a grace to
Mhm.
operate in a season, and sometimes that season has ended, but yet we're still working, and we're feeling frustrated or not fulfilled. And it's either not we don't recognize it or we're not being obedient to the time. Where it's like, hey, you need to move on. So when you're going through those periods, maybe now or in times past, how did you transition from one chapter to the next where you've been in one place for so long, but then this door is opening and you feel the pull going in this direction, and just because of the fear of the unknown, maybe you're having issues with transition. So what was that like for you, or to those watching and listening? What advice would you have to them regarding transition?
Sure. So I just want to put out there that my first job was at 11 years old, working at our family grill and convenience store in North Carolina. And since then, I had my first entrepreneurial endeavor at 13 years old. And from there, by the age of 17 or 18, I had at least like 20 plus jobs in different sectors. So now I've had 30 plus jobs. And so I feel like because my diverse experiences and I've learned a lot of things in the workplace and entrepreneurship and about failure and all that kind of stuff, it's like it's light work now. It's like when I hear God, and I've learned like you need to listen to that voice. If you hear that voice in your mind, that's God, in that gut, that's God telling you that this is not where you should be and you should be doing here. And I've learned when I went against that particular voice, things didn't work out like to my benefit. So I've learned, and through life experiences, that to really trust your gut and trust in God and making those steps, and that really just became more prevalent as I matriculated through different like college, Shanghai University, everything. I've done. I almost did like a lot of like diverse experiences, but I've always learned that I know when something is right and when something is wrong by that spirit or God telling me that I need to be going in a different direction and to be obedient to that particular voice.
That's really good. I like that answer. So, and as we begin to wrap up, throughout the conversation, you've given us so much as far as maneuvering through spaces, breaking barriers in places. Bless you.
Thank you.
Look like we all have the allergies. I understand trees,
Yeah,
but
tree.
yes, but just going through the transitions and dealing with adversity, dealing with laws, and just moving around. And now here you are. You mentioned service and giving back in different capacities. So in the future and future endeavors, do you see yourself um, continue to build maybe a nonprofit, or what types of community service for the future do you see for yourself?
Sure, I'm really trusted in God in terms of like like in terms of the paths that He want me to take. But I do see myself, particularly maybe running for public office and serving the community in that aspect,
Okay.
and giving back and really working on legislation and policies and stuff that can uplift our community here. So that's one endeavor that I'm looking see myself really getting, because I just love people. I love helping people. I love giving back. That's how I was raised, and those particular values was really instilled to me at a very young age. Being from like I guess a Christian or faith-based family or whatever, we always were taught the importance of like giving back and uplifting our community. So I see myself probably running maybe for like probably elected office.
Okay. And just quickly, I know a lot of times us as Black people, we only really get involved with elections when it's like maybe for president. But can you kind of just quickly or just lightly touch on the importance of staying in tune what's going on the local level year round, how important that is?
Yes, it is very important. We must, as a community, we must be really adamant about like getting involved in local politics, volunteer for a campaign, meet the political players and movers and shakers in your community, because a lot of things that concern that are concern us like more on a direct level can be solved or addressed on a local level. So it's really important that we are active and involved in local politics and making sure that we're advocating for the different needs and things that we need in our community and families. So I really believe in that and really advocate. It's an organization. I really feel like even you should instill those values into your kids. It's an organization, I think it's called iCivics. And so they partner with schools to teach students about civic engagement and the importance and all the I guess civic engagement education.
Right.
It's a really great program that instills in them the knowledge that they need to get civically involved in their community. So I really love that program. It's called iCivics.
That's really good. I think for me personally, just with the things that have transpired over the last, I know it's been going on for a long time, but now with the rise of technology and cell phones and social media, and we've seen things like Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, like my sorority sister, Sandra Bland, George Floyd, the names, the list goes on. And it's just like, I get it. If your son or daughter is very good at sports, athletics, and you want to have them something to do just to keep them busy or whatever. But I feel like at the same time, still introduce your kids, even though I'm not a parent, still it's important or imperative to introduce your kids to STEM, make them, volunteer just maybe a few weeks out of the summer, or introduce them to maybe the debate team and things like that, and kind of hint, oh, have you thought about, law school? Have you thought about being a doctor? And this one beyond just being an attorney, but we need people that look like us that sit on benches. And
Yes.
Even in the state appellate level, because a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize within the Supreme Court, if they don't agree with a decision, they'll just say, hey, whatever the appellate court judge says. So if you have someone that looks like us on the appellate court and in those pivotal key places, I think that's very important, whether it's the sheriff, the chief of police, the DA, the assistant DA, prosecution, defense, like we need representation in all of those areas, even in medicine, because with us being doctors, having doctors that don't look like us, they don't understand our language, our colloquialisms, our jargon, our culture, our people, our family dynamics and structure. So then we're handled differently or mishandled, and we're not listened to in the medical field. So I think it's important that we have people that look like us in those fields as well.
Mhm.
So I think it's very key. Yes, if your son or daughter, it can run, throw, whatever, but I just think as a people, we need to look beyond that and look more as far as ownership STEM in those industries as well.
I totally agree with you, and that STEM is one of those key areas. And I really believe in, even when it comes to investing, you don't want to always put your eggs in one basket on diversity. And within our community, a lot of times people think you only can do one thing, and that's not. You don't have to just be one thing. I know people, friends of family who are doctors. They have a business. They're doing. They're the members of the board team.
Mhm.
So you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into one thing. And like I was saying, like if God has given you these multiple talents and multiple gifts, you're multi talented. Pursue those things and really instill and give and those values in your children, and give them or encourage that they take more a well-rounded or a liberal arts type of approach to like education, and
Mhm.
dabbling into different things and see what they're really good at. Because if you don't know what you're good at, and you don't try it, then you won't never know you're good at it. So I really believe that we should be really pushing up STEM and even financial literacy education, civics, music, all kind of stuff. There's no limit until what our future children can do.
Yeah, and not only that, not even if because college is not for everyone. You know,
Mhm.
there's things that can do, whether it's real estate, even like what I'm doing in the media.
Learning.
You know, and because we need to be in spaces where we control our voice, our narrative, and how we're represented, even on a podcast such as this. You know, I feel like that's very important that we have that control. You look at Byron Allen, you
Yes.
know, and how and Oprah, how and Tyler Perry, how these individuals have been blessed to get in these industries to help shift and move how we're represented in media, you know, to generations to streaming and digital realms and
Yes.
television, TV, and movies. I think that's very important that we do that. And even in real estate, because we look at how we are handled with redlining and other things that goes on within property and sales. So it's important that we have our people with our interests at heart in those communities as well.
Truly believe in a power representation and having diverse voices in these different areas, so we can bring each other on and give and show people the way, and having that representation. So I'm really an advocate of like having our like diverse representation in all different fields. And I encourage like people be electricians. I mean, even those jobs that people are like saying or looking down upon, those jobs are paying six figures now because it's under resourced. And so
Mhm.
just like having different skills. So like I know something. I know about rotors. I know how to change a tire. I was even going to help my father. He was renovating one of his bathrooms, and so I was like, I'm going to help you so I can at least learn how to do sheetrock and
Yeah.
put out heating floors and stuff. So have like a diverse type of skill set, because you just never know what skills that you need will be like in high in demand. So really believe in diversification of skills. It makes you more marketable, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you save money because you can do it yourself.
Exactly.
Awesome, awesome. So as we close out, first of all, thank you so much for joining us here. What are maybe three jewels or nuggets you would like to leave to the viewers and listeners?
Sure. Like I said, one, always be looking to build relationships and to increase your network. Your network is your net worth. Two, be an insatiable reader, learner, always learning different experiences and in books. And then three, it's one thing to have the knowledge and to be reading books, but then also seek out mentors because they help you to put the dots together and to help you to put all that knowledge into perspective. And so those are the three things I would love for the viewers to leave with today.
Thank you so much. And for
You're
those that
welcome.
would like to connect with you on social media, or if they're traveling and want to visit these braces, Lord, visit the Bishop's Vault, where can they do that?
Sure, they can go to our website, theviciousvault.com. I would love for you guys to join our newsletter. We're also on Instagram, very prevalent on Instagram at The Bishop's Vault. And we are also on Facebook, The Bishop's Vault.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, everybody, I hope you got something from this episode. It's your girl, Camille Essick, host of the Speaker Podcast, the podcast where innovators and creators connect. Until next time, thank you. Be blessed. Bye-bye and good night.
Thank you. God bless everybody. Take care.
Thanks. Thank you.